Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and you got here just in time for the CIS matchup. It is Navi versus Vega Squadron. I'm Zyori, he's Trent, and we are back once more. Trent, what are you thinking about this matchup here, Navi Vega?
Easy for Navi. That's what everyone's thinking. That's what everyone's saying.
You
is
are
it true?
Savage, sir.
I don't know. It should be easy. One would think.
It's
right?
true.
That's the point.
I mean,
is
Vega,
it not?
Vega and Pain were labeled as our true dark horses at the beginning of this event. So you are right. Navi are the favorites.
Some
coming
black
into this
stallions, eh?
Black stallions.
All right. Well, we'll see. I don't know.
It would be a bit of an upset.
That's a tall order.
I'm excited to see this Vegas squad more, though, because they've got some new players, right? Faces that we don't know that well. They're just starting to gel as a team. A lot of the matches I've seen from Vega, it's like they're at 90%. You know, they've got a lot of the mechanics, they've got some of the strategies, and then that execution can sometimes fall a little bit short.
I've heard it's a lot of the mentality. Is at least in Kip's regard. She said, you know, if there was just like a nice positive voice in there all the time, this team is just the best. She really believes them. She thinks they're all extremely good players and they work well together, and like some of their scrims and stuff have gone very well. But it's a lot of it comes down to that mentality actually in the game, especially at LAN. And obviously, as you said, a lot of new players, ergo, not a lot of experience on
I
the
do
LAN
think
stage.
they have the individual skill, though. When you watch this team and you look at like the first 10 minutes and you sort of break down the laning phase,
Yeah, the
mechanics are there.
Own.
Exactly. The mechanics are there. So I do really believe it is a matter of time. You have to get that experience on LAN. You got to get the willies out. You know, it's a little scary on the main stage with all those people going crazy. Although there's no stage here yet. You're just playing in the comfort of your own player booth. So, you know, take it for what you will.
Ooh, we have a featured matchup for you. Speaking
here,
of,
what do we got? LeBron.
My boy LeBron.
And Sema.
Big fan.
Big fan of that pose as well. Both these guys, actually.
Dude, LeBron is a legend. I've been following this guy forever. This guy, much like our friend Mind Control, is a Face It EU winner. That's how he first started to get some attention. And look where Mind Control is now. He won a TI. Does that mean Navi's going to win TI? Probably. I can't promise you that, but history shows us it's likely true. So congratulations, Navi fans. But this man is not new. That's Soma the Slayer.
Yep.
He's the legend. He's been playing Disruptor since you were in diapers.
That's true, actually.
He's a legend.
It's true. Slayer and Undershock are the two. And, of course, now he just goes by Slayer. I think of him as Sema, so when I see Slayer, you know, sometimes that disconnect is there. But Slayer and Undershock are the two that we really know. It's Blizzy. Zayetz is how you pronounce that name.
Right.
The Z-A-Y-A-C. I had a conversation with Kip. It's just like Gorietz. His name is spelled G-O-R-E-C. It looks like Gorek, but in the Cyrillic, it's pronounced close to Gorietz in my terrible...
Perfect.
Terrible English.
You're doing great.
And then Palantimos is one of the other ones who is a relatively new blood on the scene.
And then there's just Navi. They have some guy. I hear he's been there a while. I forget his name. Something Superman.
Yep. There's
Something
actually
like
a Dendy jersey hanging up in the hallway here.
Two
PGL from Dendy the Superman. Isn't
What a
that
guy.
Nice? He always signs Dendy the Superman.
I know, but he like I never see it like anywhere else other than his signatures.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
I've always wondered what the story is behind that.
He should put it in his tag, like in the game when it says like Navi.Dendy. He's got nothing after that. It could be the Superman.
That's not Dendy's style though. He likes to keep it cool and simple. He's just straight Dendy. But here we go, Trent. We are loading into
look at that LeBron. Look at that wink.
Our second to last game.
I can't even focus.
Of the evening here. Of course, our match after this will be Vici versus Pain Gaming, brought to you by yours truly. But for now, it is all CIS. Chen and Sand King going to be the first two banned out by Navi. Vega banning out the Enchantress as well as the Shadow Fiend.
More importantly, what do you think of these sweaters? Pretty good, eh? Those look cozy.
The Vega hoodies?
Yeah.
Oh, they're awesome.
You a little jealous?
I love that esports teams have just stepped up merch across the board.
Oh, speaking of stepping up in terms of swag, though, that Lil hair. I mean, that is dedication.
Oh, yeah.
All credit to Lil, honestly.
Yeah. The big playmaker. He is the reason right now that Navi have so many DPC. I think he has 900 of their 1,100. I mean, he really is the man of the hour.
Yeah, fair point, fair point. But
and a first pick Tiny for Vega.
Is he the most OP hero left on the pool?
Well, there is a
the most flexible
gyrocopter.
OP hero. Oh, that's a good point. Maybe this is Witch Doctor Gyro. I think you're right. Ooh,
wow.
Okay, so I mean, he's been a long-standing counter to the old Tiny, right? The Life Stealer makes sense. But then they go for the ABBA early on. So a little bit of a strategy prepared here. Some downsides already. You can't dispel Maledict, and that's kind of Witch Doctor's thing.
That is very true.
So.
Abaddon, I feel like, is a hero that we haven't talked about too much from like a panel perspective, but very strong right now, especially if he gets a little bit of early farm. That EG game earlier, I talked to Bulba for a moment, and he described that game as a Baden plus 4 supports.
Yeah,
putting
a level 25.
A lot of credit onto the prowess that hero has. I don't know, what do you think about a Baden right now?
Well, his level 25 just got nerfed by a pretty heavy margin, and it's still pretty insane. So probably fairly strong heading to the late game, right? This early, it's a little bit odd. I feel like you tend to like seeing the matchup before you pick him, but at the same time, it's also kind of like, well, what are you going to do? You know? I mean, I'm going to Baden. And chances are he can probably hold his own in the lane unless they dedicate like 2 supports. So they've seen the lifesteal, they've seen the Witch Doctor, so they can say, okay, look, if you cask me and then you go for an open wounds, I'm just going to dispel off the open wounds.
Yep.
So I'm going to live. So you're going to need some secondary support there. And then I'm just going to go mega greedy on you, and my other 2 lanes will be all jacked up. So
Gyrocopter makes it through this next set of bans.
yeah.
Do you think he can still work with either of these lineups? I don't think you really want to run a Lifesteal or Gyro together, but could still be an option for Vega.
As long as they had a mobile offlaner, it could definitely be fine for Navi, honestly. You could just do like a mid-gyro, right? I mean, the hero's still very strong.
True. It's definitely versatile enough to be able to pull that off.
But there's probably better heroes, so we'll see how it goes.
A lot of cores banned out here, though. Dusa, as well as the Morphling, taken out by Navi, and the OD Dragon Knight, now removed by Vega.
That fits the idea of the greed, right? Because they're saying that, like, if you're going to dedicate 3 heroes to our Abaddon, we're going to have these super crazy heroes in the other 2 lanes that you really want to pressure early, but you won't be able to. So Terrorblade still fits that bill as well.
Yeah,
could be a solid pick for Vega. And there are certainly some questions about this Tiny still, though, right? Like, is this a Tiny safe lane? Is this a Tiny 4? That seems to be the most likely thing, which is a little awkward.
What do you think about Tiny right now? He was tweaked in this last patch. It was one of those small changes, but I think that cooldown difference with the tree grab actually does hurt quite a bit.
It definitely hurt him a little bit, right? Because like one of his biggest things was just like that non-stop being able to deny and also like put some damage onto you with the tree grab was really obnoxious. And I think it was a good touch. Obviously, the hero's still being picked, which is a good sign in the sense that it's like, okay, he's not like completely dumpstered yet, but quite a bit worse than he was before. 6 seconds makes a pretty big difference in the laning phase, you know?
Yeah.
There aren't that many minutes there. You're not hanging out in the lane for all too long, right? You can't waste any of them.
It adds up, that's for sure. Navi thinking hard about this 3rd pick. Still a lot of options. They will need some sort of delivery vehicle for the Lifestealer. But for now, it is the Doombringer.
Okay. Good anti-Abba hero. Also pretty good against Tiny, right? If you go for the Agnum Scepter or something like that, it just all of that stuff with the SAS resistance because it gets like lower down quicker. You can take the damage faster.
Yeah.
Those shenanigans.
I like it. Flexibility as well. Where are you expecting this Doom to go position-wise? Roaming 4, or you think this is more likely an offlaner?
Probably an offlaner with a greedy 4, I would say. Something that they can both kind of benefit from playing aggressive, and maybe Doom heads in the jungle, and the 4 can do a little bit in the lane later on.
It's not a conventional delivery vehicle for the Lifestealer, but it can definitely work. You know, occasionally you see like a Shadowblade Doom, and you can do some infest gank kind of nonsense with those 2.
Yeah, maybe like a Nyx 4 would fit fairly well too, right? Because then you have like good infest carrier and also dual lanes well with the Doom, but could also set up kills on the Abaddon if he was in a tri-lane situation. So he could kind of rotate in between those 2 lanes fairly well. Wouldn't mind that, but that only really works if the next hero is something that Nyx likes playing against. It's gonna be an IO. Witch Doctor likes playing against that. But this is definitely some strats coming out from Vega now. We're starting to see some shape here. This might be an IO Abba in the same vein of like IO Beastmaster kind of shenanigans where you're just like running at people and constantly harassing.
Okay.
That seems kind of scary. And or, you know, it also could just be, hey, I hear this combo of IO Tiny was okay at one point.
It is definitely the old classic.
Not that good anymore. So
No.
I'm thinking it's more like IO Abba.
It's a little bit of a scary Wisp pick for me, honestly. You mentioned Witch Doctor. He is one of the go-to counter supports against Wisp. If you're tethered up, you're probably going to be getting some cask bounces. Doom also pretty darn good against Wisp. I mean, you can make a case that Doom is good against every hero in a pure 1v1 because that's what his ultimate does. But Wisp is one of those heroes that really needs to time those spells perfectly, and Doom is just so good at breaking that up.
Yeah, if it were to get doomed, you know, it does nothing, right?
Yes.
And this isn't one of those heroes that if it gets doomed, it's like, okay, well, I can still like right-click a little bit. And like, no, it's done. Like, cut it out.
Yeah, and now DP going to be the 4th for Navi, so another form of lockdown in the silence, an AoE silence at that, so one more thing the Wisp has to worry about. And also the Abaddon. Silence is one of the things that really makes his life very difficult.
So what is it, Vega? What is this strat you've brought to our best of 1?
I still think the Terrorblade could maybe be an option here.
Yeah, we're getting a little bit weird in the lanes, though. Like, who's going to go mid versus this DP at this point? Who's our support? Is this actually going to be an IO Tiny support pairing?
I mean,
that seems a little insane.
You can always dual lane mid with the Wisp, right? Wasn't that the old classic Wisp Tiny mid? Are we going back to those days? No, it does make you wonder how they want to set up these lanes. Fourth pick will be the Gyrocopter, so not the Terrorblade. I'm almost surprised to see Gyro making it all the way to fourth pick. He is one of the most played carries this tournament, but actually his win rate really not that impressive. It was 50-50 last I looked. So, even though very strong, not necessarily that free win hero from a stats perspective. Interesting. Still very curious how they're going to set up these lanes, though.
I feel like I'd almost just... Is it safe to just ban Disruptor? Just be like, man, I just don't want to pick Disruptor at this point. Like, he's a good 5. Maybe they're going to do IO Disruptor, and this Tiny is going to be just a core. They'll ban the Bane. Okay. Similar vein, someone who can just control up the Lifestealer.
Is there any chance this is a support Abaddon, and he's not the 3 that we've just been assuming?
Definitely. I mean, you can do it. It's all right.
I think he's much better as a 3, but just these lanes look so weird to me. I'm kind of throwing it out there as...
I think it's pretty bad this game, though. He doesn't really do anything.
Yeah.
Like, if I think it's support Abaddon, I think of it against, like, really heavy stuns or something. Who he just wants to, like, save that one person in the lane from, like, a Bane Mirana combo. Used to be, like, the only reason we'd see it or something.
Right. So. Sometimes counter Bat Rider, that kind of a thing. I do like the Bane final ban from Navi. I think this Vega draft is definitely lacking on some lockdown. Right now, you are super reliant on that Avalanche to connect to find some of these kills. So Bane would have just been some great what this draft is lacking. They ban out Omni Knight. I think very smart. We've seen the power of DP Omni together. Pretty good duo there.
Yeah, and that, again, speaks to the flexibility of the Doom, because it could be 3, could be 4. So you kind of have to account for both just in case. And I don't really see any legendary 4 here that's incredible. The Nyx hasn't really worked. I mean, it's okay against the Gyro, but it's not very good against the IO +1. It can be hard to get the double stun, just because, like, IO is super fast, and the hero's going to be really fast who's tethered.
I do kind of like Disruptor here for Vega.
It's certainly the best 5 left in the pool. So Rubik's not very good this game. He's okay.
That could add some lockdown. Not much is coming to mind here, Trent. This is a tough last pick. Every hero I look at, I think, no, that's not good. CM, no, probably not. Rasta, probably not. I mean, Lion could work. I mean, Lion will definitely give them some crowd controls, a little bit of extra burst damage.
It's just so awkward with their lanes right now. Like,
it feels like they need sort of a bruiser. Lion Wisp is such a frail support duo. I mean, is Ogre an option? Like somebody that can be in the front lines, Bloodlust up the Gyro and the Tiny?
I don't think they need a bruiser. I don't care what they pick, honestly. They can pick pretty much any 5. I don't think it's going to make a big difference here. I don't think it's the biggest deal.
Well, they've chosen. It's the Disruptor. So big
good
surprise.
Thing we talked about other heroes for 50 seconds.
No, you were right. Disruptor does feel like kind of the safest pick here. Synergizes well with what they have. So now what will it be for Navi, Trent?
So what do we have now at this point? We have...
It's either going to be a 3 or a 4, depending on what they want to do with the Doom.
And who are they laning into? They have the possibilities of... It's probably going to be IO +1 mid. So it could be a Tiny or an Abba or a Gyro in the safe lane, obviously. So you don't really know exactly what core you're going to be going into. But none of them are too scary. You just want some nice tanky duo who can fight against Disruptor +1. Disruptor hates 2 heroes, so...
Maybe they should grab the Ogre.
No Ogre, though.
Yeah, not
the hero.
And they've decided it will be the Tidehunter.
Nice.
So it looks like it will be the position for Doom moving around, and now it will be Tidehunter to take the off lane.
Okay. Sounds good. I think we've probably reached the point, honestly, where the support Doom's actually more common. So.
Yep. It's going to be with Lil that grabs the Doom. So big expectations there with those rotations. I like the Tide last pick. Also very good against Wisp. Again, same logic as the Witch Doctor. Usually pretty close to each other, so you can hit multiple heroes with the Ravage. Pretty solid. Which draft are you favoring here? Do you have faith in this Vega draft, Trent? Can they do it with the Wisp?
I don't know how I feel about just like the general laning. I don't know. It feels kind of awkward, doesn't it? Like,
it does feel like a game where they could just lose the lanes and it could all fall apart way too quick for Vega.
The Tiny got picked so early that I feel like he's going to have a really hard time early in terms of, like, he can't do anything. Like, let's say you want to try and, like, combo someone down quickly with, like, an Avatos combo or something. Look at these heroes. Like, you got to bully a Witch Doctor, I guess, and hope that he's out of position, because other than that, it's going to be a pretty rough time. So overall, I definitely favor Navi as a team, as well as the Navi draft. So
I think their draft has a lot more control. That's the thing that I'm going at. You've got Cask bouncing around. You've got Doom. He could even have the Centaur Stomp on top of that, the Silence from the DP, plus the big Ravage. Vega's very reliant on this Avalanche still. I mean, now you have the Disruptor, so you have that Kinetic Field, Static Storm, Glimpse combo, which will definitely help you find kills. But in these longer, drawn-out team fights, there's just a lot more spammable control on the side of Navi.
Vega isn't chained by cooldowns, though, which is something that is going to happen. They have DP as well as Tide for Navi, so there are some issues there if they screw up one of the fights or something.
That's a really good point.
They also have good punish in terms of winning a fight because we have heavy base objective taking just from the, honestly, ABBA helps a lot, and then the IO too.
I feel like it's very hard to fight around cooldowns, though. Like, in theory, that sounds great. Like, okay, Ravage is down. Okay, Exorcism's down. Let's push. But in practice, at this level, it's really, really hard for teams to actually seize the moment in those really small windows of time.
Yeah, in general, just I'm going to keep saying that now with general here, but the split pushing isn't that crazy for either team either. There's, like, wave clear kind of, like, Tiny... He can kind of wave clear with the tree and the Avatos and everything. He's going to be like appear in a lane, blow it up, and kind of run away. He doesn't want to just like stay on the same lane for a while. And then in terms of Navi, you've got Tide who just parks himself somewhere, which is going to be pretty irritating for Vega because I feel like they're going to want to just like set up and like push into a structure, but it's going to be difficult with Tide there because he's just going to like gush the wave and pull it back. And then if they dive into the tower, he can Ravage when the TPs come through.
I also think General is going to have a pretty good laning phase. They don't really have great heroes to completely zone out the Tide in the lane. You know, Disruptor, Wisp, and whether it's Gyro or Tiny in the safe lane, I would expect General to get some pretty decent experience early on and maybe find a little bit of farm. We do have a pause loading into this game, folks, so you're not missing much. Looks like one of the players had to step up for a moment. So we do have an admin pause, and we will get into that game as soon as it is ready to rock and roll. But for now, you got to look at these ugly mugs.
Sorry. Condolences. I know it's rough out there. I know it's a tough time.
So should hopefully be just a couple minutes, and then we can get on with our second to last game today. Again, it will be Vici versus Pain as our final match to close out day 2 of this Swiss group stage.
It will either be the best or the worst game of the day. Find out after this.
Yeah, that one definitely pretty heavy favorites for Vici there. But I want to see this Pain lineup with Weehaw do something. You know, we've only seen one game out of them, and I have some hope, though, Trent. You know, well, I really do.
They will do something. I'm sure. Hey, I don't know. They could do it. I'm okay with that. I can believe.
Okay, so while we have a moment here, Trent, broad strokes, how you feeling about this group stage? We're almost at the end of day 2 of this major. Overall thoughts, what are you thinking? What's the gut read?
It's
My gut read is Rapier, dude. How many fucking Rapiers have we seen this tournament?
I thought you were talking about like the format.
Well, I just meant in general, but that has been the standout statistic for me.
Yeah, there have been a lot.
What, like 40% of the games have had Rapiers or something like that?
That's definitely not true.
30%? I mean, make up a number here, Trent. You used to be a stats guy.
like 4 Rapiers?
I think it's been more than that. I think we've had more than 4. I haven't counted. Well, I'm sure Knoxville is already working on a tweet now.
I mean, one of those games had 2 Rapiers, so I hope your numbers aren't getting messed up here.
Hey, that's 2 Rapiers, bro. Come on.
Yeah, but that's in one game.
Oh,
so in terms of your percent of games with a Rapier.
All right. Lay off on the NA math flames, all right? I went to business school, not math school, Trent.
Yeah,
but,
sorry.
Community questions? Do we have another one? Oh, good.
Well, sure.
Good. Production didn't like our fill, so they're going to throw us with a question. Which is the most dangerous underdog to face in a best of 1?
Pitbull. I would not take those odds. I will pass. All right, well, first off, we need to define our underdogs.
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of...
Vega, Pain. Who else here is in that tier?
They are by far the biggest underdogs. Looking at the rest of the list.
Is that it? Is that how hard we're slamming those 2 teams right? We can't come up with one more out of 16?
Well, I don't want to... Okay, and those are the 2 underdogs.
Oh, they're right there. Okay,
so, I mean, but I don't want to slam. You know, like complexity kind of comes to mind, but I don't really think they're an underdog.
God, jeez, all right.
Well, who else is there? Literally, I'm looking at the list of teams. Optic, they're not underdogs. TNC, they're not underdogs. VGJ Thunder, I wouldn't really call them underdogs either.
Slim Slam. These are our 2 underdogs.
So Pain and
so who is the most dangerous at Vega?
I guess it's Vega.
All right, congratulations, Vega. You won something.
It's Vega. I mean, I think CIS teams in general have a reputation for being relatively aggressive, you know, if you were to compare regional play styles.
Yeah.
So generally speaking, I would favor CIS teams as best of one. They like to do things a little unorthodox. They tend to thrive a little more in those chaotic games. But that's a really broad stroke statement. Yeah. And Pain has a stand-in, which is always going to be a factor that makes it more difficult.
Also a good point.
So,
another question.
Another community question? What do we got here? Most games of Dota you have played in a single day. Oh, man. I think mine's 15 or 16.
Yeah, I think I'm like 13.
I think I lost 200 MMR that day, but it was still 16 games. It was pretty brutal. Well, folks, we have
Dota.
a resume. So the fill is over, and we're going to hop into this game, the CIS showdown of Navi versus Vega. Let's see if the underdogs can do it, or if Navi will take a win, as many of you at home are expecting they will. I'm really excited for this matchup, though, Trent. I love these regional matchups, especially on LAN. I couldn't be more excited, my friend.
Could not be more excited. Well, Undershock looks like he's probably going to get a little bit of help in the mid lane here, judging by his items. So it is going to be the old IO Tiny mid, the classic. We're going to be chucking some creeps, refilling the mana, chucking more creeps, refilling the mana, and then he might chuck another creep. Pretty much how she goes. Maybe chuck a DP in there somewhere.
Yeah, but Zayats does have the Arcana, Trent, and that is the sign of
Very
a
important.
truly dedicated Wisp player. Cannot be bought on the market. If you have this item, you knew that you were dedicated to Wisp. I appreciate that.
No, you just bought compendium levels like all of us. I mean, come on. What are you talking about
How
here?
dare you, Trent?
Yeah.
Well, anything surprising out of these lanes? Undershock will be the one to grab the Tiny, so it will be a Tiny mid. And it looks like a safe lane try for Vega, so relatively predictable lanes.
Yep.
A little bit of bounty invasion here as Vega head up to the high ground. LeBron going to be nearby. Looks like Vega going to grab at least two, but on the far side.
Blizzy's making some plays down here, going for the creep grab.
Well, look at this, Trent. We don't see this too often, but there's just a straight bounty rune down here. Nobody went for it.
Yeah. You know, he's busy. They think that he's there right now.
Yeah, Blizzy in kind of a cool position down here behind the tower. Crystallized didn't want to run up there by himself, thinking it could be a trap.
Aha!
And now Blizzy going to try to pull this creep wave. We saw this last game. It was punished pretty hard, but this time it looks like Blizzy will be able to get away with it. Mid lane, Undershock, in some trouble. Lil being very aggressive at the start. Pretty standard stuff for Lil. This is really his forte. Make space for Dendi early on, but not an easy lane for Undershock by any stretch, even without the Doom.
Yeah, and he has no help here right now either. I thought the IO might start there a little bit more with the bottle and everything, but he's trying to get a level 1 kill on the Tidehunter is more than likely what they were going for. But the Witch Doctor was here instead of being down bottom with the Abaddon. So this puts a good lane for Abaddon for sure. But it means just because the Witch Doctor's not there to try and zone him out or anything. But obviously it's going to make life a lot easier for General. So they're just kind of shoring up all three lanes. They're going to win mid if this situation continues. Undershock's not going to have a good time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And top should be fine, and bottom will just kind of be a trade.
Which I think favors Navi. I mean,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you don't want to let the Abaddon get too much free farm, but Crystallize very happy to have a fairly passive laner like that in this context. Looks like Lil is going to rotate into the jungle. He's going to find himself one of those alpha wolves, so he'll have some pretty decent right-click damage.
Especially in a little trio scenario. Tri-lane, trio, you know, whatever you want to call it. Oh, look at this wrap for him, too.
Yeah, Zayat's in a lot of trouble. That's a first blood drawn by LeBron. Navi didn't even have to do much for it. Just the squishy Wisp dying to auto attacks. Sima is going to be able to make it out. One more auto attack is not enough. Good kinetic field will keep him alive, but first blood is drawn, and Navi are definitely off to a good start. Lil's got a creep wave here as Wisp starts to chase him down, but Zayat needs to be careful. 0 armor, he cannot take a lot of right clicks.
Yeah, gonna be a lot of action up top here.
Now. They're hanging on for now, but now Sima coming back in as they want to try to finish off LeBron. The kinetic field locking him in place. He's got the Voodoo Restoration, but the heal is not sufficient. That'll make it 1-1 as this dire tri-lane finds their first kill.
All right, nicely done. And then bottom lane actually using the Aphotic Shield aggressively allows Crystallize to then use the open wounds and get a lot of his HP back.
Yeah, Baden kind of holding his own. He's got 10 last hits compared to the 16 of Crystallize. You definitely expect the Lifestealer to farm better in this matchup, but all things considered, I think Blizzy's fairly happy with this. And checking back in on, up top. Cask bouncing around, they'll find the kill on Sima. So much explosive potential from Navi.
Yeah, in mid lane, it's just like Undershock. Yeah, he's a little bit of level advantage because of the dual laning at first, but I don't know.
I mean, he's actually not getting out CS that much though. It's 12 to 15. Tiny's hanging in there.
Yeah, I guess as long as like, because what happens if DP starts to go for a Siphon play or something, he'll just get thrown back. So Dendy doesn't have a lot of options without a rotation, but there's certainly a threat there. And Gyro now being ran down again.
Yep. Palantimos in a lot of trouble. He will survive. Lil has picked up the big Satyr, so he has Shockwave for extra damage, but almost more importantly, that Unholy Aura. 5.5 regen in an Aura for his teammates. It's amazing in these try-on-try situations. Wisp, uh-oh. They kind of bait him looking for the rune. He does tether back to Seema.
But zoning him out from these runes is just so important, right?
Yeah.
Cannot let him refill that bottle.
Yeah, the empty bottle. Lil's going to pick it up. Seems like Navi know exactly what they need to do here. Little counter ward actions. That will be to try to maintain a little more control in this try-on-try environment.
And all Zayas can do is just hope there's a rune there, but there is not. And they do not have a ward on the bottom lane. The Radiant know that there's an invis down there. And looks like Zayas is just going all the way down, hoping for it. And he will get it. It's going to be quite fortunate.
Yeah. Small stroke of luck there, the invisibility.
They just, I mean, they know that Crystallize hasn't left, so. Oh, is he?
No, okay. Long walk to not get the rune. That's really unfortunate. Okay.
Where are you going?
Well, Lil, level 3. He has his Tranquil Boots already on the Doom, and he's now picked up one of those Wild Wing Rippers. And we may see him try to be sort of annoying with that Tornado, but it is pretty mana inefficient. Even just having that toughness aura is pretty nice, makes the Doom fairly beefy in these early levels.
Did Zayas really leave that rune just to get off that double stack in the jungle? I mean, if so, I'm impressed, but that seems a little crazy. Anyway, with that rune.
Up top, Witch Doctor taking a lot of damage. Palantimos laying in with the Rocket Barrage, and it will be enough for the kill. Does get caught by the Maledict, but General not able to return too much damage. And that'll just be a freebie there for Vega.
And Lil went bottom with the invis and was able to just force a TP and many HPs out of old Blizzy. So he's back to the shrine.
Definitely feeling Lil's impact in this early game, no doubt about that. Be interesting to see what Navi does with this off lane now, if they just leave General on his own to try and leech some XP and just put pressure on, or if they will continue to commit to this dual lane. Looks like LeBron is headed back up top on the Witch Doctor. Putting a lot of priority on pressuring that Gyro, and you can see it on the net worth. Lifestealer about 500 ahead of the safe lane Gyro.
Definitely shows the power of Tiny, though, this hero, even with that nerf with the tree grab. If anything, mid's a little bit better now, because sometimes it can be a little bit harder to grab the tree either way, but it doesn't matter too much for him. He can lane up against someone like DP. It's kind of crazy.
Very impressed
the old broken hero.
With Undershock's ability to maintain presence in this lane. Slayer, however, are going to walk into LeBron and Lil, the roaming duo looking for a kill. And I think they're going to find it. The kinetic field comes, but no, the Shrine's right there, and Palantimos actually TP's in. It's a rotation from mid, and they chuck LeBron over to the Shrine, and they turn it the other way. It does take 4 heroes from Vega to rotate through, but they do prevent the gank and get one the other way.
Yeah, it's okay. A little bit of a quick rotation. At least the goal went to Tiny, so I think you want to accelerate him, get him into the treads, and probably the Shadow Blade this game.
I like that Palantimos just TP'd right away. You know, some carries might have been tempted to just sit in lane and continue farming through that, but finding a kill and also keeping his Disruptor alive. Now General taking a lot of damage from the Rocket Barrage. It's up in just a couple seconds. Now the glimpse back into the kinetic field, but these creeps are going to be nearby, and that'll absorb enough of the damage that General stays relatively healthy.
Yeah, 9 charges left on the stick as well. Salve, Tango, he is not going anywhere anytime soon.
No.
And bottom lane, Blizzy has the ulti, so should be okay here.
They'll try to chase him down. Lil does have another Infernal Blade. That'll be the end of the borrowed time, and yeah, he's just going to head back to the high ground. Yeah, with another Aphotic Shield ready, they know it's not really worth it. And Zayat's now here with his buddy, the old Tiny. Yeah, but can they even make the play happen? 960 total HP for old Dendy. It's pretty tough. Dendy, relatively tanky. He's got the double null talisman. He's now got the phase boots on the way. Definitely not an easy target to bring down. Now in the bottom lane, though, more pressure onto Blizzy. They know he doesn't have the borrowed time. They won't be able to finish him off, but starting to really zone out this Abaddon. Seems like Lil spending more and more time in this bottom lane to babysit the Lifestealer. Also, Helm of the Dominator. First item on Blizzy, now completed. Lil also just doing an incredible job controlling runes. He's going to stand on top, denies it from Blizzy. Oh, however, this time Wisp will also get one of the bounty runes. Up top, call down, going to go into General. Big damage coming in onto this Tidehunter. Homing missile will connect, and there will not be enough to save him. Cass going to start bouncing around, though. The glimpse back from the TP, and LeBron will have no choice but to hide under the tower. This safe lane try for Vega actually working out pretty well.
Yeah, down bottom, Undershock running in the low. Gets the big old tree hit.
Double damage on Tiny is just too much. Okay. Vega kind of erupting here, Trent. Navi are still holding on to a very small gold lead, but it's Vega that seemed to kind of be taking control of the map a bit more.
It's still pretty low. Doesn't have anything again. No runes to bottle up.
Really does feel like a poverty
He's
Wisp.
in the south. All right, he's good. Never mind. So it's okay. What are we going to do now, though? We're still waiting on this exorcism to be used by Jenny.
Oh, Ravage up top. They are going to connect on the Wisp. He tries to tether away. He might still be able to live. No. Anchor smash is there. LeBron on the other side taking a lot of damage as Undershock now rotates in. The toss will find that kill. They go 1-for-1, support for support, but now Tide glimpsed back up. Another Anchor smash that does not mitigate Rocket Barrage damage. And he is going to get brought down. Another kinetic field nicely placed. Double kill for Undershock's Tiny.
So nice to have a core with that balance of damage between magic and physical like that. Especially in the early game when you have someone like Tide who's trying to, as I said, prevent that physical damage with the either the Anchor Smash or just the Kraken Shell too. Does not do anything.
Even though Vega get those kills up top, they do have to make a lot of rotations. Dendi and Lil try to use that time to pressure the tier 1 mid. They get it down to about half HP with the first exorcism of the game, but won't be able to finish it off with this rotation.
Yeah, Undershock 4-0-0 though with, again, another one of those rotations we said. So he's starting to build up a little bit of a streak here that we have to watch out for.
Yeah.
Crystallize, he is just doing his thing. 74 last hits, 19 denies at the 10-minute mark.
He is happy as a clam. Very impressive farm, 4,800 net worth, and you know, making that case for why just static farming can be slightly more economically efficient than going for those kills early on. He's going to hit level 10 himself, and his armlet is just around the corner.
I like that General Zoom is stack up here with LeBron too. Just gonna help try and get him over to level 6. Don't have anything to do with the Ravage right now anyway, so you just push out the wave into the Gyrocopter, go back, farm this, and help LeBron get to a point where he'll have like actual kill threat during the next Ravage, because Witch Doctor can actually capitalize off of Ravage a lot. Sets up for a good cask, can then go into a Mallet on a couple heroes as well, which is arguably even more important. And then you also have that ulti, which can be very difficult to use in a lot of games. And yeah, he just dances around there. General happy as can be that his camp's being stacked for him.
No doubt. I also like that LeBron did grab that early point voodoo restoration. Or commenting last game, we see a lot of Witch Doctors just go pure aggression, and in this particular match, seems like he's gotten pretty decent value out of that heal.
Yeah, I mean, it was an aggressive tactic, though, because he was playing with 2 other heroes in the lane, too, so it actually enabled a lot of damage. They were able to hold their own into the Gyro, the Wisp, and the Disruptor.
Very true. Big stack here, getting cleared out by Palantimos. It's going to be big for Zayetz. Get him closer to level 5, but they're moving on in. Lil is 1 creep kill away from level 6. Those little Harpies are not going to do it, but this Wild Wing should. And now there is a Doom available. This could be a kill.
Yeah, Navi going to be very upset they let that go. They had a ward on it. I'm sure they were waiting to fight there and try and catch them when they went for that stack, and they weren't able to do it in time. So we talked about getting Witch Doctor 6. Obviously, Aya was even more important. And I don't even know if he got the tome this game. It looks like he did not. They might have given it to the Disruptor because he is 6, and he's looking to set up a kill here with the Tiny.
Yeah, it's a tough call. You really want the relocate, but Static Storm is also a game changer in a lot of these. Looks like we'll see some split tower pushing. Vega pressuring mid as Navi use another exorcism to pressure top. Looks like meanwhile Palantimos just happy to farm away in the jungle, getting that extra heal from his good friend Wisp. Vega pushing slowly but surely. Navi are going to be able to knock down this tower way more quickly, and they could come in to mount a defense. Remember, Doom's still available on Lil. He's going to drop it on the Disruptor. No Static Storm in this fight. Crystallize also rotating in. It's all 5 from Vega. Navi having trouble finding a target as the Lifestealer does infest inside of the Siege Creep. Tiny does have a Shadow Blade now, so Undershock is invisible.
It's a good thing he's in that catapult. Kind of saves him.
Yep.
And they will have to go for the deny. So he was kind of forced to go for the Doom on the Disruptor. just because then he's going to glimpse these people back and come for the TPs. But honestly, he might have wanted to just try and glimpse a core in an ideal situation. So try and do a core rather. So probably a little upset about that.
It was a tough call. It did break up the fight, though, and in the end, Navi finished off the tower up top that Dendy got extra gold for, and then they denied that tower mid. So still an advantage going to Navi, even though they were undoubtedly hoping for more. I feel like Vega are doing a really good job managing their economy, though. It seems like Pound Timos is constantly just taking down stacks. His supports have done a really good job beefing up this jungle for him.
Oh, Zayats. Uh-oh.
That's not great. Ogres, dude. Those little ogres, he's stuck on the low ground. He's trying to heal up here.
He's fine.
Okay. Yeah, he's got stick charges, too.
He's just getting beat up.
However, Dendy, in a rotate in, Zayats will use the shrine, so he will heal up.
Okay, they got bottom, though. They're rotating back.
Lil, hungry for a wisp, but tethered down to the low ground. Be all right. Crystallized in a very aggressive position. He does have this armlet now, so it seems this Lifestealer is ready to try and fight if the opportunity strikes. Undershock with the Shadow Blade. He's going to rotate in. He might be able to catch General here. A Haste Rune. Glimpse now onto General. He's going to be stuck in the Roche pick. Static Storm, Kinetic Field. No Ravage to reset. Can't even get a deny at Roche. It's a nice pick off, and Zayats gets that bonus goal.
Nicely done there.
Almost his level 6 now. That's a good pick off.
Honestly, I was kind of worried. I'm just like, oh man, he's still not 6, but like, what would he even do if they had 6 right now? The only thing they could do is they could split push a little bit more, but there's just so much gold stacked inside their own jungle that wouldn't even benefit them, honestly, so it's kind of fine.
Yep.
So he wanders around to get another Bounty Rune. Sadly, no experience. Oh, hard day.
Blizzy on this Abaddon. Haven't checked in on him recently, but has the phase boots now and has the Radiance queued up. Feels like pretty much the standard build on Abaddon these days, but always this window where you're pooling all of this unreliable gold.
Yeah, also means he doesn't really want to fight during that window too, which could get a little bit awkward, but Atani and Gyro are also quite happy with farming. It's just like, are we going to be able to use this IO at all? Man, Zayats, he is very good at doing these double stacks, and that is super useful when you're playing IO Gyro. He just did it again on the Ancients and a Hard Cam. That's a lot of gold. Also for himself, right? I
exactly.
Mean, hey, it's
gold
a little
for
bit,
himself, and following around the Gyro gets him that extra experience.
But Navi, they see what's happening here. Passive game from Vega. They want to try and change that, so they approach with the next Exorcism, and ideally this tower goes down, and then they think about Roche more than likely with the Ravage backing them up.
Exorcism not needed to finish off this tower, and even though Vega have done a really good job managing their economy with these stacks, Navi have done a fine job themselves. They've maintained this couple hundred gold lead throughout most of the match. Good call on the Roche as they do deploy the Exorcism for this. A recently completed Medallion on Lil also makes this a lot easier. Vega are nearby. They could come in and try to contest this, and it looks like they will.
That Medallion might save it. Oh, no.
Oops, Static Storm, Kinetic Field in the pinch, sort of off the mark. The call down actually going to do a lot of damage. Navi with a lot of low health heroes, but General with a great Ravage breaks up the fight. They get the kill on Undershock. Doom comes out on a bad, but he does have the borrowed time, and he's going to heal through it. Lil taking a lot of damage inside of the Roche pit, but they're going to turn onto the Abaddon. Roche so low, they'll lose Lil here. Radiant does kill Roche, and Lil is the one to grab the Aegis, so even though he goes down, he will come back to life. Zayats did buy back to make this happen. Lil taking so much damage from the Rocket Barrage and homing missile. It'll end up being a triple kill from Palantimos as the DP
oh my God, that glimpse
does make it away.
Came off cooldown. I don't know if they would have been able to kill him anyway, but...
So that ends up going in Navi's favor. It's a 3-for-3. Wisp buys back, and still Roche does go down to Navi, and they secure the Aegis for themselves. The Aegis gets burned, but at the end of the day, the Radiant do come out ahead.
That is true overall. However, there is still 700 gold for the Gyro, which is pretty huge, whereas the rest of the gold for the Radiant was much more spread.
You know, it makes you wonder, too. Lil has the Medallion up here. There's a little window where it wasn't,
No, I thought that they were actually going to get it in time because of the Medallion, but it wasn't quite there. But Crystallize he drops very quickly during this fight, right in the middle, and then he actually stays fighting to damage into Undershot, but then he infests in here into General, and he hops back out trying to go and plant because he thought General was going to die, but the General sticks up and lives. So he kind of suicides into the Gyro. But, I mean, it's not like he could have fought much more anyway. He probably just died to a flat cannon.
Look how close it is for Lil, though. He finishes off Roche and still grabs the Aegis when he's on like 3% HP or something there at the end. Really well done, knowing his limits in that situation. If they walk away from that fight with an Aegis on the gyrocopter for Vega, that's way worse for Navi.
Yeah, definitely.
But you do make a good point. Even though Navi as a team kind of get the benefit there, Gyro now #1 on net worth by a nice margin.
That's pretty good for him, but...
SNY completed.
Most importantly, it's just there's no Aegis for Navi, which means it's harder for them to play aggressively, which means we're going to play passively from both teams, and that seems to suit Vega, I would say. I have this Abaddon who wants the Radiance. I have a Tiny who maybe can abuse this passive gameplay. If Navi want to try and take advantage themselves, they have to split up, and that's when Tiny can just go in and look for these kills deeper with the Shadow Blade. But again, this Tiny was picked very early, so they're very tanky heroes. Even Lil like that is not an easy one to take down.
Yeah, relatively speedy too. Actually made it outside of the kinetic field. So not going to be locked in. Homing missile. Okay. This Tide so beefy now. He's got drums and Hooded Defiance.
If the fight starts though, the gyro could just be there in an instant, so slightly worrisome.
Top tier 1 does end up going down.
Navi moving in. Too. They're hoping that they actually came back in for a fight, it looks like.
Interesting. Yeah, not a defense mounted, but they will move all their cores up to the top lane. Both Navi supports in the Radiant jungle right now. Dire drop a scan down bottom. Not going to find anything there.
They've seen Tide up top, though, and now they see DP, though. So they probably have a pretty good idea as to what's happening.
So how do you like this, Trent? Blink Dagger on Death Prophet immediately after the Yules.
It's obviously been a very good item on DP after the BKB, but she is a life stealer, so they're going to try and use that combo here.
Oh, they are going to catch Tiny. There are some sentry wards down. He's going to go for the TP, and Undershock will make it.
That glimpse saved him, taking away the DP's damage. Sending right back to the top lane.
Well played by the Disruptor. Okay, that's one gank mitigated. Tiny's item build looks like he's going to go for S and Y also. Going to be finished up here after that Shadow Blade.
All right, we're beefy. No early BKBs. I don't think it would really suit what's happening in this game anyway. Plus, BKBs will still be good versus the Ravage later on, so they'll have some nice late 10-seconders. For now, just stay fast, stay tanky. And another clump of Navi heroes down bottom. Once more, though, they don't have this Aegis. You can just imagine how much better these pushes would be, how much more aggressive their posturing could be. And good vision set up here from Vega before this fight starts. If they want to take it, it's certainly an option, but even with the fort, it looks like this tower is a bit too low. I mean, they have to relocate. This is very tempting.
Tough call to make.
Oh, it looks so good. Come on.
Well, Dendy going to pop the Exorcism now. They will commit to this tower. Undershock hiding on the side. And he's still just going to keep his position secret.
Maybe cancel TPs.
Zayat's up top. Still not using the relocate. It'll be the Tide that TP's in to try to defend that tier 2 tower. And now Dendy's just going to TP mid. So there won't be a team fight here. Undershock with the Shadow Blade on, though. Possibly looking for a gank attempt as Lil spamming out that Shadow Amulet will just TP home himself.
We can't quite find anything.
Yeah, we were talking about, though, the potential for Doom to grab a Shadow Blade. Does make him a nice Infest Bomb carrier, and Doom Lifestealer definitely can find kills in those 2v1 scenarios.
Let's see if they can find any. So it's a clumped up Vega squadron as they smoke up for somebody to take down.
Also very close to the Radiant. So we talked about this window where the Abaddon might want to be a little more passive, but after that Roche, it seems Navi haven't been able to crank up that aggression.
He's under a ward here. They see where he's moving.
Oh, he's about to get sandwiched. All 5 heroes of Vega heading this direction.
He's got the Rage TP.
Zayat's in the tree line. Yeah, you're right. They don't have any way to interrupt it. Unless they can burst him down. Undershock. Yeah, it's going to be off the mark. Now Doom comes the other way. They're going to jump on the Disruptor. Navi were ready for this. They do initiate onto Blizzy as well. There's the borrowed time. DP's going to get away for now, but the Death Ward comes out. Palantimos comes back in. They toss the Tomb Disruptor forward. That'll be the end of him. Now Blizzy very low. He's going to be the target of choice if they can lock on him, but instead it's Undershock. They've got the dust. He's going to go down on the back line. It's a 2-0. The rest of Vega maybe going to make it out. Zayat's with a tether. He will make it across to Palantimos, who's popped that shrine. But Navi were ready and waiting for that. The bait was real.
I've been that Disruptor. That's the sad life. You are useless. You're going to die anyway. I'm just going to throw you in.
Blizzy gets a little greedy, goes to farm those neutrals, and they do catch him with a relocate. It'll save him. However, this could cost Wisp his life.
He might be able to...
Navi just let it go. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, still good for Navi. I guess Gyrocopter doesn't die. He's still #1 on net worth. Well, not very close, but getting close to the Scotty.
Well, it was a good setup from Navi. A little bit of a bait, perhaps, with Crystallize. I mean, he was playing very aggressively, so Vega might have suspected something, but they couldn't get the burst down in time, didn't connect on anything. Very quick on the Rage before the Avalanche could come out. And they're set up for the tower.
Lizzie had a creep there with the Aphotic Shield. Will said, oh, thanks. I'll just eat that. Crystallize now on the run. Rage TP. Yep, that'll work.
Yeah, of course, Tiny no longer able to throw magic immune units.
Yeah. And now a Desolator on the way for Crystallize. So we got a replay here from this up top. Looked like an okay setup onto Crystallize, but unfortunately the Disruptor, I mean, if he didn't cast those spells, he would have been doomed anyway, so he does get the ultimate off, but really a non-factor in that fight.
He just throws the Disruptor. That was a bit rude, wasn't it?
It sure was. I think Blizzy played that fight just about perfectly, though, running into the front lines, forcing out the borrowed time relatively early, but kind of breaking up the fight so that Navi couldn't just charge. Made the space for Palentinos to get out to make it to the Shrine, and also for the Wisp to survive.
Yeah, and that was a fight they didn't have to take. Again, they could have just raged TP'd or something, but everyone was there ready to back them up. They kind of suspected that's what Vega were up to, so nicely played by them to try and get some aggression going in this game, even though they didn't get that Aegis when they wanted to.
Yeah, now check this out. You look at the Gyrocopter. He picked up the ultimate orb, did have a Scotty queued up, and instead of buying that second orb, it looks like he's made the call to switch to the BKB.
Oh, that is so rough. Oof.
But yeah, ultimate orb, very expensive. One of the least value items, so to speak, in terms of cost per stat. But here we go. Down bottom, Undershot gets an initiation. Slayer with a good statics from Kinetic Field, and now they relocate from Wisp. Crystallize getting very low with the Ravage. Secures the kill on Zayat, so now Crystallize is going to do what little he can. They go 1 for 1. The end of the day, not ideal for Navi, but they were outnumbered, and at least he's able to trade. That will secure his Desolator.
And Plantables, he can just straight up buy the BKB now. So is he going to do the SMY first? Or
nope. Or do you mean like break the SMY and get Manta? Nope, looks like he's committed to the BKB.
Okay.
Just needs another creep kill. He'll have the recipe, and then Magic Immunity will be realized. And now, finally, that Radiance comes out on Abaddon, maybe a little bit later than he would have liked, but 2 massive team fight items for Vega.
Yeah, it actually doesn't hurt him that much. They went for the ultimate orb. He's just recognizing, you know what, I really can't get stuck in these Ravages. Like, if my team is ravaged, I need to be BKB'd and pumping out damage that pushes them back from me.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world to have that ultimate orb. It's not like it's useless, right? He's got the Scotty queued up again, so he'll definitely be able to make good use of it. In the end, not even really going to slow down that BKB timing all too much. He'll have it for this next team fight as Vega group up. They put down the Sentry Ward, and they smoke, but oh gosh, Trent, there was a Radiant Observer right there, just out of the range of the Sentry. I think Navi saw this, and they will be ready.
I don't think they can capitalize on it, though, honestly. Like, they don't have Ravage. So, well, they're going to try and go into it, but
I think it's more that just Navi won't get caught here with this smoke. But Roche will totally make it worth it if Vega can do this.
10-second BKB for Dendy. This is huge. He needs a big silence.
Well, Tidehunter goes in, statics from Kinetic Field to start things off. The Exorcism as well. The Doom shuts down the Tiny. He'll buy back straight away, but Palantimos trying to stand his ground. He's going to get brought down too. The BKB's not enough. Happy to trade the support for that kill as now Blizzy is on the run. Navi steamrolling their way through this fight. The borrowed time's already been used, so it will be a kill on the Abaddon. Tiny does get dusted, and oh no. Oh, this could be a dieback for Undershock. He now gets silenced. Dendy will get glimpsed back, but Crystallize has closed the gap. General's here. The relocate, it'll save him. They ping out the Wisp. It looks like they do want to punish this Wisp this time. But so costly for Vega. They don't get Roche, they don't win the fight, and Tiny has to burn his buyback.
Yeah, Dendy was on point with that silence. He caught all 3 of them inside the pit. They felt pretty safe, like playing inside the Static Storm, and then suddenly they couldn't cast anything. Abba died, I think, before he even cast Aphotic Shield. Like, he went down so quickly. Absolutely obliterated.
But it's also a great catch from Lil. I mean, he made Tiny a non-factor in that fight. He got doomed and then destroyed before he could really do anything. With all that said, this will be Navi grabbing the Roche.
Yeah, not being taken away from them this time.
Yeah.
And that's going to be Cheese as well. So kicking off that earliest Roche, you know, the faster you get it, the faster the important one comes for a DP lineup.
So here we go, the replay. That was the silence Trent was talking about to start it off. It forces the BKB
Look
from
at
Gyro.
He just gets cast, and then he's like, just to ult.
I mean, this is the problem with grabbing the BKB there with Gyro. You feel like you need it for the Ravage, but that was a fight with no Ravage, and Dendy being in the front line with the Exorcism just chews through the Magic Immunity.
And Lizzie just got shredded. Got two Aphotic Shields, and that was pretty much it with his ulti. And well,
LeBron gets soloed by Undershot. He didn't really miss much there. Just support getting picked by Shadowblade Tiny. Definitely a freebie. A small sign of life, but Vega going to need a few more of those. to turn this game around. Also just so bittersweet. I mean, Vega had the right idea, right? We're going to smoke, we go to our high ground, we're going to drop the sentry to make sure that Navi don't know we're smoking, and this cheeky little ward on the other side of the trees still catches them off guard.
Yeah, that was a nice one. Weren't too many other ones that would have done that for them, obviously, or else they know their ancients were blocked or something, so I might call it a little bit unlucky, but at the same time, they took a smart fight because there was no Ravage, and it still went that well for Navi because
Navi also have a ward here on the low ground, so they saw the rotation up anyway.
Yeah, yeah, fairly good point there, but yeah, just like Dendi essentially ravaged them. Like he just gave them the old silence, and some of those heroes are just as good stunned or silenced. I mean, what's an IO gonna do? Just sits there.
Absolutely right, my friend. So pretty sizable lead for Navi now, somewhere around 5,000. A small dip after we saw that Witch Doctor get picked off, but still pretty happily in control in terms of farm. Now Lil with the Shadow Blade. He has the surprise inside, possibly looking for a pickoff, but not going to find anyone with this rotation. Slayer up top drops his combo, and he'll just TP home to survive the wrath of Dendi.
I like what Plantimos is doing too. Oh, he's actually going back for the Scotty. Well, he had the butterfly queued up because he saw how fast he got shredded in that last fight. But he might just be saying, I've invested too much into this ultimate orb at this point. Because honestly, I kind of like the butterfly idea better.
Yeah.
I feel like he's just getting destroyed by the by Crystallize on the Lifestealer. But Lil with that surprise, coming in behind. Doesn't find the nice, easy target that he wants, though, just an ABBA.
Still a couple seconds on the Shadow Blade. He'll make it to the high ground. And all the while in the Radiant jungle, Zayats and Plantimos pushing down. I feel like Vega are executing this Wisp very well. You know, split pressure combined with the relocate threat. They're definitely doing a good job limiting the space for Navi to farm, but look at this, Lil with the rotation down. This poor Wisp could be in some trouble. You know that's the target that he's focused on. However, he sees Plantimos, and here we go. The Infest Bomb comes out, relocate will save him. Now, meanwhile, on the other side, the rest of Vega trying to pursue, knowing that it's only 3 members of Navi.
Yeah, Navi didn't want to commit the exorcism. They could have had that tower for sure.
Yeah, still get the kill on the Wisp. Nice little play from the Abaddon to take that Wild Wing Ripper and give him a tether target to try and make an escape there.
Yeah, I've seen him try it a couple times now where he just sets it up nearby when they were going to need it. But
didn't work, but still, heart's in the right place. You miss all the shots you don't take.
That's right. He's going for the Aghanim Scepter on the Abaddon.
Oh, it's such an incredible item.
It's okay. Is it really incredible? Is that how low the standard of incredible has gone?
50% damage mitigation for everyone within a 900 radius? Yes. It's insane. It is an incredible Aghanim strength. It is a literal game changer.
It's okay.
You've been hanging out with Brax too much, my man.
It's good. Yeah.
Well, here we go. Okay, I thought they were going to initiate on LeBron, but nope, they just walk away. Reveals that sentry ward that he put down. Well, Navi have the cooldowns. Doom coming up in about 70 seconds, but they've got the Ravage, they've got the Exorcism. They seem fairly committed to this Infest Bomb type strategy. He did have he picks up Purge now, all right.
Yeah, tower again. Should be easy without the old Exorcism.
Yeah, shouldn't need it here. Dendi also has the Eon Disc. We didn't mention that pickup, but he's gone. Interesting, he went for that Blink Dagger and just went back for very defensive items. BKB, and also has that cheese now swapped into his inventory.
Yeah, it's good. The Blink was awesome because usually you get BKB then Blink, but he didn't need the BKB at that point, and then he used the Blink to get some Infest aggression going. So it was a good mix-up there. And there's only 15 seconds left on this Aegis, so there's a chance they could abuse this from Vega.
There is a dire glyph, but remember, Tiny does not have buyback. It's still on cooldown from that Roche fight, so this is really scary for Vega. Crystallize in the front lines. He does have the Aegis, so if he goes down here, he could come back to life. Nice rage, mitigates the avalanche, and not going to be glimpsed either. The Aegis expires, and he'll be good. That was pretty close, though. They don't finish off the melee barracks, so sort of unfortunate for Navi. A little surprised they didn't deploy the Ravage there just to finish off that melee. However, I guess they knew the glyph was still available, so Vega could have reset. But it is a hold for Vega.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, that melee will probably be back. Like, I mean, unless they come like right at the next Exorcism, it's going to be really close to
no, it'll regen quite a bit. That Desolator on Lifestealer does give them a lot of pushing burst, and he's also going to go for the Assault Cuirass. Crystallize going into minus armor mode here. Lil now has the Shivas queued up. Pretty standard stuff on Doom, but big item there. And man, this gyrocopter, very indecisive about the item build, Trent. He has taken heed to your advice. Yeah. Looks like he is going to go back for the butterfly and just hang on to that ultimate orb.
Everyone hates this. It sucks. You feel like an idiot. But, I mean, if he just wants to disassemble and make a Manta, that's kind of okay this game.
That's not bad.
I can live with that.
Definitely not bad. But he does have the butterfly complete. No buyback for Palantimos, but this is obviously a huge item pickup. No real way to deal with it on Navi right now. I think MKB going to be the next choice for Lifestealer, and he's already got it in queue as that Assault Cross comes out.
He's a psychic.
He knows.
He knew. I think he probably saw the quarterstaff in his inventory, but that's okay. And yeah, Doom with the halberd, so.
Yeah, I like that. Not the Shivas we were talking about, but.
BKBs hate him. It's halberd.
Mm-hmm.
I like these broken gyrocopter scarves lately. They just kind of stick out really far all the time. Sometimes it gets like super broken. It just goes in like a perfectly straight angle.
Yeah. Well, slow and steady here. This game taking a slightly more passive turn as we're getting to the later portion of the mid-game.
We're cursed.
Yeah, both teams just focused on...
No one picks initiators.
Fighting around item timings.
We got Avas. We got Omnis. What's going on? Just Tide Hunter. At least Tide's getting stuff done for us, you know, and I can be thankful for that.
Tide is ready, dude. He's got Blink. He's got Force. He's also got the drums.
Oh
he's
my God,
a speed
they're so
demon.
close to popping it.
Disruptor on the high ground. He does pop it. General hesitating just a little bit, but now Lil charges in. They've got the detection. Seema knows what's going on here. He will get caught by a cast. No bounces, but now General jumps in. The Infest Bomb destroys the Disruptor. Must be the quick pick that Navi was looking for. They ping that tier 2 mid. It's very low already, and they should be able to finish it off.
Yeah, but Undershock's down bottom. Being irritating again with the Shadow Blade, constantly getting
and his BKB.
Those nooks crannies. Yep. Still at 10. But this tower does go down eventually with no exorcism required once more. And our Roche timer about to come up.
Both teams with one outer tower remaining.
Ooh, 2 minutes.
Also, the Aghanims on a Batten has been completed. Yeah, I have a feeling this game is going to stay passive until Roche comes up. I mean, maybe Lil will find an Infest Bomb gank. He does have Doom, but in lieu of that, this is going to become the battle for Roshan. We'll see both teams probably start to ward up around that area in the relatively near future to maintain control.
Well, Plantimos is set on this Scotty. His dreams might finally be realized if things keep up at this passive pace. Still holding the top of that chart. Still just running around, destroying waves. Has the helm creep from the Abba following him, the Alpha Wolf. Nice one to have, too.
Well, Trent, now the Scotty, I think, will come for the gyrocopter.
I know, it's going to be there, dude. We're going to get there eventually.
2,000 gold up. This is actually the time. Undershock looking at that DP, but will not find the opening. It feels like Vega are kind of hungry for an initiation, but really just not finding anyone.
Yeah, it feels like same thing with Lil, right? Crystalline's been inside of him several times.
Yeah.
They just wander around hoping for something, so they're going to smoke up. Infest is probably almost back off cooldown at this point. So the line is fairly accurate as to where the Dire team are. Navi closing in past the illusions.
Yep.
They say, no, don't kill those.
5-hero smoke.
Sioma almost dies in the exact same place in 3 by the shrine.
Lil, who's he going to go for? The Ravage connects on 4. It's a beautiful initiation. And now Navi are focusing down this Wisp. Zayats tries to get out with the Glimmer Cape, but it's not enough as they dust him. A lot of low health heroes will limp back as Blizzy gets left behind.
Oh, the Aghanims. What? What? I didn't say anything. That was a perfect Ravage.
It really was. Yeah. That was like the dream way to start off that fight. Now they get the Shrine, which means Roche will be even easier for Navi to take because there's no access point for Vega. Roche has not respawned yet, but he's going to be up in about 5 seconds. Very bittersweet for Navi as they will walk away from the pit.
I mean, General has 2 key targets that he needs to get. The Abba and the Io, because the Abba is just going to go for his typical aphotic shield off someone. He doesn't have...
yeah, he'll use the Aghanims.
Yeah, he can just... Yeah, that's right. He just, like, pops his ulti, and then he just instantly shields. So you kind of have to stun him to at least slow that down. And then for the Io, of course, you're just going to be able to tether relocate if you don't Ravage him. So, yeah. Excellent move by General.
Well, Navi do scout out the Roche. They see he's respawn, and the big boy is going down quick. Medallion makes it really easy. This is, of course, the 3rd Roche, so Refresher Shard is there. This Alpha Wolf scouting things out, but absolutely no way Vega can contest this. So who will grab the refresher shard is my question. Looks like it will be Dendy. So we'll have the double exorcism. Aegis going to crystallize on the lifestealer.
If it was a bit easier for Lil, we might actually give it to him, but you have a DP. It's just a bit too good, honestly.
Yeah, and Lil's happy to take the cheese.
Yeah, he can settle.
It'll be a full reset for him. I think Navi probably just want to continue farming until this MKB comes out on Crystallize. He's pretty close, just needs about 1,100 more, maybe even less for that second Javelin. And he will be able to deal with this Gyrocopter pretty effectively.
Yeah, it's a real edgy game here, as no buyback for Plantimos, so he's just he's living on it.
Yeah, that's Scotty complete.
Undershock has the Silver Edge as well. Does that really help him this game?
Not really.
Not terribly.
He can
Just
break Kraken
the
shell.
Tide that is actually pretty huge, I suppose. But they already had the Disruptor, so that's kind of what he's designed
I wouldn't
for.
use the word huge. It does something.
Hey man, it stops you from being like, he could just blow him up in a full Ava stun or something. With the help from someone else, he's not going to Kraken off the stun.
That's true, but something tells me General is going to continue to find initiations similar to what we saw in that last fight. You know, I mean, sure, that'll give them the ability to kill Tide, but as long as Tide gets off his Ravage, I think he's pretty happy.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, yeah,
All
we'll
right.
see.
Put some money where your mouth
just
is.
talk with that Ava ultimate some more. Ava.
Just you wait, bud. But more good split play from Vega. Slayer will TP home, and they'll put a little bit of pressure on. They'll shove the creep wave in, and Alpha Wolf going to come chip at this tower. Forcing Navi to always think, uh-oh, they could be pushing. Maybe we should go back and defend, and it will actually pull the Tide back to finish off this creep wave.
They just don't have that, like, I don't know, that threat. Why? Shouldn't it be like a bigger threat? It's like IO +1. You think that
yeah.
You want to be like on their buildings before someone even TP's back or something like that. But instead, it's just like an Alpha. I mean, they did a serious chunk of it, so I'm certainly impressed and everything. But it just, you know, they need a lot to win this game. And I know you started our cast talking about what's been happening in a lot of these games, and I can tell you it's probably going to be another one of those. It's probably going to be Rapier Dota. I mean, what else is left for Vega, right? Like,
yeah.
He's got 2,000 gold right now. He's got some drums to replace.
I think you're right. For Palantimos, I mean, what else? What other item could actually win this game for them? It's got to be a Rapier.
Yeah. I mean, he could possibly think about a Linken's, honestly, because there's no Aegis. So.
I think in the first game that Vega played, they also bought a Rapier.
They bought
on
the earliest Rapier, I believe.
34 minutes, if
it
I'm
was
not mistaken.
Drums BKB Rapier, because he was having a real rough one. Knew there was only one chance.
Did not turn the game around for them in that scenario, but I think it was still the right idea in the moment. And could end up being a necessity here, but it looks like this is the quote-unquote death push from Navi, the double exorcism, the double BKB for Dendy.
Aegis still up for another 2 minutes as well here for Crystallize.
And the MKB in the inventory of the Lifestealer. So they'll go right for this top lane. Of course, there is a glyph for Vega. Undershot comes in. There's the Aeon Disc on Dendy, so that will delay the push a little bit. But Abad gets doomed and just obliterates. Pardon me, Ravage comes out, obliterates the backline, but BKBs come out. Abad does get off the ult. He's full healed. He's killed LeBron, and actually the Tide goes down. Navi might have gone in a little aggressively. They finally kill the Abad. Wisp gets caught by the Yule's silence, nowhere to go. But 2 cores from Vega still relatively healthy. Is this going to be enough to stop the second Exorcism? Dendy still hasn't popped the Refresher Shard. There it goes. And Exorcism is back. The one glyph has been used. They will catch the Doom. Buyback now from Blizzy. Navi trying to hold on. Undershot gets low and he gets brought down. Blizzy does have the borrowed time. It's keeping him alive a bit longer. Crystallize getting low, but there it is. The Aegis gets utilized. Dendy with his second BKB. Still 2, putting pressure on this tier 3. All their teammates are down, and with that buyback, Crystallize and Dendy do back up. Rage will stop it. TP up in 1 second, and Crystallize will be able to make it home. So kind of a weird team fight. I guess Vega did everything they could.
They weren't set up in time because the TPs weren't ready from the IO and the gyro. They didn't want to use the relocate to come back in, because then obviously IO gets sent back, but the cooldown wasn't quite ready, so they had to wait until their TPs were up, and that's what took them so long to get back in that fight, and that's why Abba was at like a quarter HP and doomed by the time they were even there.
The Abba charged in, and I thought the Ravage was really good, but Vega actually had BKBs active on the gyro and the Tiny, I think, so really the Ravage didn't do much, but just full heal the Abad as he had the borrowed time on.
Yeah.
And also having borrowed time when you ravage, that's sort of an ideal situation for the Abaddon. So it was a really chaotic fight, but in the end they burn 2 buybacks. Both Abaddon and Tiny have to buy back, and they kind of make a hold. I guess given that was Aegis Cheese Refresher Orb, not too bad. They only lose 1 lane of barracks, but they did also lose that tier 3 mid. So it feels like at this point Navi can kind of just whittle them down whenever Dendi's ult is available.
Man, imagine if you were a level 14 Witch Doctor and your level 24 Lifestealer buys the tome to get to 25. That is the sad life right there. Poor LeBron. Crystallize just getting everything in this game. So that'll be another 2 seconds added onto the Rage.
And now the BOTs are starting to come out for Navi. Level 2 Boots of Travel on the DP. And Lifestealer. Well, he's got him queued up. Still sitting on the power treads for now, but at global presence.
Vega are refusing the slow and inevitable death. Because they are looking for that rapier.
Now they smoke.
They have a DD. They're going to try and make a play with it. Good choice.
The rapier is queued up.
If he sells... Is he going to be close?
I think he's
close.
He sells the drums. It's almost enough. Does have the double damage in a bottle. So 20k deficit, 1 lane of barracks down. If they're able to pick up this rapier, Trent, what would you say the chances are Vega can turn this game around? Still pretty dark, or is it actually enough that they could maybe start to get some momentum back?
Honestly, it's probably like, what, like 10 to 15%? It's fairly good chances considering you're down 20k. I mean, they have an IO, right? So they have that global split push presence.
That's what I was thinking. With the rapier on Gyro, you can chew through structures.
Yeah, there is a chance that you do some crazy structure damage thing going on, or there's possibilities here. It is much easier than with most lineups, that's for sure. And Crystallize has just been... Lifestealer needs a GPM talent or something. I don't know. He spends so much time just sitting inside of people.
Well, wouldn't that be interesting? Passive gold while you cruise around in the taxi service.
Just hanging out.
Navi with a pretty aggressive position, like trying to limit areas to farm. Look at these dire wards, though. Gyro might get jumped. No. Look at these dire wards down at the Radiant top lane. They are pretty ready to split push and see if anyone comes in to defend. I think it's the right idea from Vega. Navi have all of their ultimates available, cooldowns ready. Just playing this very patient.
Crystallize is ready for a second one when this fight starts. That's the double burst. You pop out, pop back in, pop back out. Oh, she's beautiful. It's a lot of damage.
It sure is. Dendi now with the Exorcism. 7-second BKB. Glyph is available for the Dire. They'll have 1 reset. The break comes in onto Dendi, but there's the Eon Disc. That'll be the first reset.
I want to see General go for the fake Ravage where you like blink in and then just 4-step back and see if they pop.
Dendi caught in the kinetic field, does use the Yules. And this is that slow siege we were talking about where Navi can kind of just whittle them down. With 2 cores on Vega lacking buyback, they really have to be careful with how they commit to this fight. Kinetic field not going to do much, as Dendi does just blink out. Homing missile will chase him down, just trying to get away.
All right, let's go to the secret shop.
So that's a mid lane of barracks down, Trent. Not really a team fight, but just a free lane of barracks for Navi.
Because they can't fight until the Rapier's here. Let's go.
There it is.
Plantimos is in. Get this man a tome. Get this guy to 25.
The Rapier is here.
He really needs those 3 homing missiles.
Yeah, the level 25 Gyro is really underwhelming. Global call down or homing missile charges at 50 minutes.
I mean, they're pretty cool. They're okay.
I mean,
they're super annoying. There's no doubt about that. But I mean, you compare it to, you know, like his level 15. But
compare it to pretty much any other hero's level 25s, and yeah, they're
but
pretty
his
underwhelming.
15 is broken. Let's be frank here.
Ooh, a glimpse onto LeBron. Looks like they might get a freebie on this Witch Doctor. That's nice.
That's the Rapier scout right there. Don't worry, guys. I found it with my body.
At least they know.
And the Roche Pit we go.
Curse of Avernus. So Witch Doctor could buy back here, and he will. Seems Navi want to make the defense. Roche falling very quickly, already at half HP. They are not going to get here in time to contest this, I don't think.
Man, they need this Aegis so bad in the Gyro, too. It's coming together.
Dude, this is a big sign of life for Vega.
There's possibilities here. Now, you got to get home. You got to push out some waves here.
So the Refresher Shard will go to the Gyrocopters. We've talked about. You think about those big ultimates, but a double BKB on a Rapier Gyro is a pretty big deal.
Double BKB, double flat cannon. That's really what the key is.
Okay, that's
double flat
cannon. That's fine.
I mean, this is just insane. 18 multiple projectiling Rapiers. flying about like he's the
Fair.
18 Musketeers.
And this window where Vega can't really take a fight in fear of not having buybacks, rapidly coming to a close. 2 minutes until Tiny's buyback is up. Less than that for a Abaddon. Also, Aghanim Scepter on Doom. I don't know if we mentioned that, but always a scary item
the tiny
to see.
counter.
Yep.
Absolutely obliterates him.
It sure does.
Whatever happened to that refresher? Dendi did use it, right?
Yes.
Or, yeah, he just has a normal refresher.
Yes, now he has a refresher orb. He did use that last refresher shard to finish off the mid lane of Barracks. So still a double exorcism to deal with.
Oh, they've actually handed it over to Abba here.
Well, what's kind of crazy, though, is, even if Navi get Megas, as long as they don't lose that Rapier...
He's so close to them right now. Where's Gyro?
Blizzy, he's the one that's going to get doomed here. Tiny comes in. This Abaddon's taking a lot of damage, and he will fall.
The Gyro's here.
Oh, my. Gyro doing a lot of damage. Brings
God,
down Dendi, but no, he can't do anything. Dendi's going to stand his ground, and that'll be the Aegis. I think this might be the end of the Rapier. What an awkward fight for Vega to take with Hound Timos. He does not have the BKB anymore. The Ravage locks him down. Zayats falls, and the rest of Vega follows suit. After all that, Trent, what a sad way for this game to end for Vega.
Wow. I mean, you knew that was probably coming, but a fair attempt.
Did I, though?
Come on now.
The Abaddon getting doomed and dying just straight up. No borrowed time, no
He was
nothing.
trying to create a fight outside the base so they wouldn't get Megas, and then they were ready to relocate. It makes sense. I get the strategy.
I get the thought.
Yeah.
But after all that, I was really hoping that we'd see that big team fight to turn it around with the Rapier, and just not enough. Another kind of weird game, though, honestly, Trent. It felt like the momentum of that game was really kind of awkward.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not following that typical like flowchart Dota. At least that's what I always call it, where it's just like, oh, now you go for this tower, and then they go for Roche, and we're looking for initiators, and oh, they're going to smoke here and place those wards down. That kind of like play wasn't really happening, honestly. It was just much more like passive and laid back, and no one really crossing, doing anything.
Yeah.
Everyone just kind of waiting for those perfect moments, and we also saw a lot of gank attempts. I mean, how long was Lil just running around that map? He spent the whole time just running around with Crystallize inside of him, looking for Doom plays and everything. But I'm pretty sure in that last fight, he disarmed the Gyro before he got his BKB off, by the way. Which is why when he came in out of that relocate, you're like, where's the damage? Hello? Is it coming through this time? So he spent like the majority at the start of that last fight not doing anything.
Yeah, and we're going to look at some of the highlights here. But in that last fight, I was kind of thinking that same thing. Like, wow, this Gyro's doing so much damage. Oh, wait, he's not doing anything. That's his Wisp that just died. Oh, this is an awkward team fight. So this is that first Roche, I think. Is this the one where Vega actually come in and intercept it? This could have been a moment where if Navi had finished off this Roche, they might have had the momentum to just start to close out this game. But this is when Vega are actually able to stand their ground pretty damn well. Lil with the big plays, though, in the pit. Yeah, kind of just mitigating damage. He ends up getting the last hit on Roche with just a sliver of HP. He grabs the Aegis, dies immediately, and at least prevents Vega from grabbing that second life for themselves. He does go down once he comes back up. But this was really one of the early fights that was so key to allowing Vega to stay in this game and keep it close. That triple kill for Gyro set him ahead for the next half an hour or so.
I mean, it was also like part of the whole strategy in Navi as well. They just kind of lost out on that, and then they weren't able to play that aggressive game, which is why the game felt a little bit odder than usual. They had to wait like an extra 10 minutes, essentially, for a Roche that basically should have been theirs. Then this fight was a great take by Navi, and it was kind of an awkward initiation at first because Crystallize just rages out of what Vega were trying to achieve, and then they just get run down afterward.
Yeah.
They end up losing 2 here and barely escaping with the rest.
Yeah, this fight, another one of the good ravages from General, but definitely
really
had
good
some
game.
Huge initiations.
Yeah.
One of the key players for Navi, no doubt. So it was one of the other Roche attempts. I think this was Roche number 3. And this is the one where the Tiny ends up buying back, and it's kind of a wasted buyback, honestly. They still kind of get cleaned up. They're not able to contest the Roche, and it just eats into that economy, setting Vega further and further behind. I hate to say it, Trent, but you were kind of right about that Aghanim Scepter on the Abaddon. Did not feel the effect.
What else would he... I was thinking like a 4-staff or something was kind of the ideas I would have been going for, or maybe like... Because it was awkward. He couldn't just like pipe because there was like a very good damage spread coming from Navi, right? You have like a lot of physical from the DP and the Life Stealer.
And
so
the
you can't really go that. Crimson Guard doesn't feel that great because it doesn't do anything against DP except for the +2 armor buff.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop those attacks. So it was just kind of like, what else do I buy on this hero? I think that's why he wound into it. And a lot of the best fights from Navi were very clumped and balled up. And so he was thinking, hey, my Aghanims That does kind of make sense. So I get it. I don't think it was a terrible choice. I was just kind of being a jerk. That's all.
Yeah, I mean,
no, don't worry about it.
I agree with you. I don't know if there was a better item choice, but they just weren't able to use it to much avail. Here's where Dendi pops the refresher shard, able to use the second exorcism. They get one lane of barracks, and well, they're able to grab a second. It's this awkward fight where only these two cores are left alive, but Dendi and Crystallize are so damn beefy that they're able to finish off the tower. They do lose their Aegis, but they force a buyback from the Abaddon even. And again, even though it's a hold, it's still very costly. This is the final fight. Abaddon not able to get off his ultimate. That Doom locks him down, and the rest of this team fight just goes so poorly. At Gyrocopter, he does kill the Witch Doctor relatively quickly with the flat cannon once he gets disarmed.
Someone had to suffer.
End of disarmed, but yeah. I mean, really, given that that's a rapier gyro, you didn't feel the damage in that final fight, I guess is what I'm getting at.
No, they tried to find that perfect desperation fight, and unfortunately, it wasn't there for them, so... Yeah.
Brutal
and how
for
about
Vega.
that itemization from Dendi, though? That was actually perfect. We talked about it a little bit during the game, but the blink first to help with the infest, try and get something done. Because, like, when you go Lifestealer, like, he had a free game. He was, like, 74 and 19 at 11 minutes or something in terms of last hits. So everything was going perfect for him. That generally sets you up for the Radiance or the Battle Fury. And most people have been going for that lately. It's been talked about as probably, like, the kind of the better build. This tournament, I think we've probably seen more armlets, but if you go armlet, you want to be active. You want to get kills, and he didn't really have a natural carrier. So Dendi goes for that earlier blink dagger than usual, and then perfectly progresses from there because he never died.
Yeah, well, the great transition also is Dendi was the carrier at the beginning. He switches back to normal DP build. Then Lil gets the Shadow Blade. He becomes the carrier for the Lifestealer. So they kind of played hot potato with it, but it worked out really well. Opened up more efficiency around the map.
Yeah.
So final scoreboard here for this match. Vega now 0-2 in this Swiss group stage. Not a good place to be, but like Trent mentioned, again, we have a flawless victory for Dendi here. 9-0 and 8 on the DP. Perfectly executed.
Yeah, we've had a couple of those today.
Yeah. Wow. So Navi fans rejoice. A pretty successful match there. And MVP, who do you got for this
I'm
one,
going to give
Trent?
it to General. Even though Dendi did so well and I liked his itemization, I thought that his Ravages, personally, were on point.
The only Ravage that I thought was a little lackluster is when they had both BKBs active on Vega towards the end. And even then, it was still a pretty good Ravage. It broke up the fight. It allowed them to lock down the Abaddon to some degree. Every other Ravage felt completely on point. He had a couple 4-hero Ravages.
What about you, production?
It's General.
They said General. We got
all
it right. Oh, we're in there.
The offlaner made it.
Nice.
4-4 and 18. Good record for the Tide that game.
Yeah, honorable mention to Dendi, for sure. But I actually think that, like, in terms of the job that he was given this game, General enabled a lot of what they had to do for the side of Navi. And it's not easy being that, like, that Tide, you know, that super initial initiator. Like, he didn't have a lot of vision going into a couple of those Ravages. Some of them he did have great vision, thanks to Lil and the Shadow Blade, so way to go, Lil. But
nor did he have an easy lane, right?
No, yeah, he was like doubling up.
Yeah,
chilling with
Gyrocopter
a Doom.
is one of the few cores that has the burst damage to actually kill Tide in the laning phase, and with the Disruptor on top of that, they picked him off a couple of times, but he still got the experience, still got the farm, and made those
he had
big
to play
Ravages
it maybe
happen.
a bit different too, because he was playing like really aggressive in the lane with the Tide, right? Because he had like the Witch Doctor there the whole time, and plus his damage at the end of the game was close to Dendi. He had 16k damage, and they had 21k on the DP. So
wow,
impressive stuff.
All right. Well, folks, we're moving into another break, and then we've got one final match for the day. It's going to be Vici Gaming versus Pain Gaming, China versus South America. You're going to want to stick around because this final match should be interesting.
Hey, I want to play. Get out of here, nerd. Have you ever been bullied at the LAN cafe? Well, not anymore. With Pain Gaming Self-Defense School, you will be an enemy carry in a world of cowardly supports.
Chavo. Hey, Jafet. We are Duster. With our train, you will learn how to bring the pain.
Pain!
Ready. Steady.